FORA.tv. The world is thinking.
As many people know, I was the General Secretary of RPF from 93 to 96. And if there's anybody who could comment on a relationship, especially on revising Kagame, Kagame was a colleague. I worked with Kagame very closely. I was intensely very loyal, actually to Kagame to the point of self-denial. And I would say that many people feel the same way about the kind of politics that RPF espoused because we believed in them. I was one of those people, if somebody had met me before I became estranged from the regime, and we had met sometime in, say, 1994, 96 or before, I always got irritated about anybody who told me that there are Hutus and Tutsis in Rwanda. I had bought into this whole philosophy of RPF that said, you know, we are all Rwandans, and so anybody who tries to bring out this whole issue of Hutu-Tutsi is actually a divisionist. I used to subscribe to that kind of notion. So you need to understand this, where RPF came from, because it was it began as an organization predominantly of Tutsi refugees in exile. Especially our generation were people who had been born or had gone into exile, very young people, and who had grown up in exile in Uganda, in Tanzania, in Congo, in Burundi, and elsewhere in the diaspora. And so the whole philosophy of RPF, the predominant, if not the fundamental theme of RPF, was about going back home. And the regimes of the day simply had said, you know, either the country is too small. I think the regime used to say that Rwanda is like a glass full of water, and that if you put one extra drop, some extra drop must be dropped out of the glass. That was the philosophy of the day, and we simply didn't buy it. And so we inherited a very difficult situation in 1994. And so the point we need to make here is that whereas it was essentially an organization of Tutsi refugees, its philosophy was quite appealing because it was both nationalistic, talking about bringing together the Hutus and Tutsis. It was democratic because ourselves and others within the country, especially since the 90s, were saying that Rwanda under General Habyarimana had become a dictatorship. So was the previous regime of Kayibanda until 1993. And Tutsis in Rwanda, when they lost power in 1959 to that, during that transition, until 1994, had actually become like second-class citizens in Rwanda, were either refugees or second-class citizens in Rwanda. And so after that was the kind of appeal that RPF came with. And many people within the country gave it a benefit of doubt. Many people believed in that. But over time, RPF fell into the same trap that MRND before it. MRND was the party of General Habyarimana, and MDL Paramehutu, this was the party of the first president, a Hutu as well, because the same dictatorial tendencies that they exhibited in their time, which actually pushed Rwanda into crisis and finally into civil and genocide. These are the same characteristics that RPF has right now. And that's a point of departure. It's a point of concern because some of these things that have happened in Rwanda before, you can see the signals, the stress signals that existed before 1994. You can see them in Rwanda today.